Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, February 17th, 2025, and we had Valentine's Day, I guess, on Monday. No, a couple days ago. Not today is Monday. Yeah, Valentine's Day on Friday. Sorry. In Valentine's Day, 214, that's special to me because that that flag up there, get my hand to go the right way, Climb to Glory, 10th Mountain Division. I was in the 2nd Battalion, 14th Infantry Regiment. So 214 is a representation of my old Army unit, in a sense. So my guys that I associate with from 10th Mountain Division, we make the joke that it's 214 Day. And so that's, it's special for us. Anyway, it is Monday, and the weather has changed again. Surprise, not surprised. We had false fall, had some nice weather last week. As you know, I did get primer on the cover jet as I had planned, and not much else. Not much else went on. I focused on that, and it turned out pretty nice. There's always going to be something that you can fix or make better. So I will address some of those things, and it's not going to take much effort at this point. Now, I will say this past weekend and today, I really haven't done anything. And I say anything, I've done stuff, but I've avoided doing things because I hurt my back. Yeah, and my knee's been bothering me, but my back has been messed up, and it's my lower back. And I even went to the chiropractor today, and he helped me. He got me back moving. The problem is once you injure your back and you have kind of it's kind of almost like muscle memory, or something gets out of place and it gets used to being out of place. Even though you put it back, it wants to go back to where it was. So that's where I'm at the moment. I'm still in the weird transition of back pain. So I did a few oddball things, nothing major. Trying not to cause any more problems for myself. As we all know, we get older, we have physical limitations, and it's just not worth it sometimes. So I will be getting more done on this 68 Fastback. As I mentioned in the previous video, I need to get this side off, get the rocker panel on, and start doing a lot of drilling in preparation for the eventual welding of pieces together. So the Cobra Jet is going to sit during this cold snap that we're having. In fact, this morning it was rather cold. It was about 30 degrees. And I know that they're predicting that, I think it's on, let me see what day it was. Friday? Yeah, like today a low of 30. Supposed to be 20 degrees Friday morning. And 26 Saturday morning. So that's a challenge. When the temperatures drop again, there's only so much you can do as far as bodyworks type of things. So anyway, I hope everybody had like I said, a good weekend and a good Valentine's Day and all that stuff. But we're here to talk about cars. So if you're new to my live stream and you're just checking it out for the first time, I do this every Monday night at 7 o'clock. And I've been trying to do this continuously for years now. I think next week, though, I will not be able to make it. There is a charity event that I participate in on once a year, basically, and it is next weekend or next Monday. So I go do that charity event to help raise money, and I just won't be here. Sorry. But if you are just checking this out, we do this on Monday nights. We talk about classic cars, and that I say classic cars. That for me is 55 to about 78, 79, 80, 81, somewhere in that range. And we try to help each other out or bring up topics that may help other people who are just checking in or seeing what we're doing. Now, I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to be involved. And if you have something you're curious about, hey, we'll try to answer it. And if I can't, there's always people in the chat box here that keep up and do a good job of answering questions as well. So let's see who's here tonight, and we'll get started. And first in, Rick Stevenson. Sorry, I won't be able to watch the live stream tonight. I'm on the road and I will be at the airport. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Well, thank you, Rick. There's a bell for being here. And normally when Rick shows up, which he's here, he got here early, that's when I have my first sip of coffee. So there you go, Rick. Hope you have a good week. Dave Tyson. Good evening, all. Good evening, Dave. Glad you're here. First Dave sighting. Steve's Money Pit. Good evening. A Delta plane flipped over in Toronto today. Yeah, I saw that briefly on the news. Now, I don't know enough of what happened or any of that. All I can say is I know it was a CR 900 or a CRJ, and that's a smaller plane overall. From the pictures that I saw, it looks like it landed. I'm just speculating here. It looks like it landed, and they said it was 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm thinking maybe the winds got a hold of it and flipped it over. That's all I can really say. Those planes are heavy, and even though they're smaller planes, they are heavy, and it would be hard to make it go upside down without some exterior force coming at it. If it had actually crash landed upside down, there would be no survivors. I could say that. So it had to have been some sort of, I'm guessing, wind reaction or something wrong on the runway or a combination thereof. So, yeah, pretty scary stuff. My understanding is I think everybody survived, but there are people in critical condition. And, hopefully everybody recovers from that and they figure out what happened. We don't need any more planes to crash or interact and cause deaths. We don't need any more of that. But I'm glad to hear Steve. Terry Keithley. Burr, it's cold. Please hit the thumbs up and like button for Barry. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Thank you to all of you. Rick Gain. Hope all are doing well. The only thing I've done with my car lately is remove all the boxes off the top of it that were due to go out for recycling. Not very exciting around here. Yeah. Glad you're here, Rick, and I understand that it's been it's been a challenge here. Again, with the weather changing, going back and forth, and of course the combination of everything just being kind of exploded in here. Right now everything is apart. Now I have boxes for these panels, a lot of these panels. I have parts for the Cobra Jet, and it's just a lot of congestion in a sense. So I may have to do some rearranging once again to try to make sure I have enough room to do what I want to do on this car. But yeah, I'm glad you got rid of the boxes. I hate to even be like I'm not that I'm doing it very much, but occasionally I do have stuff stacked up on top of these cars. Daryl Horvath, I'm in Toronto. Over the past 3 days, we have had more snow cumulatively, challenging me with big words. I like that. Than the entire last winter. Wow. That is a lot of snow, I guess. I'm assuming. Because if you had just, an inch and a half over the last winter, then that would only be about, 4 or 5 inches. So I'm assuming there's quite a bit there. Cumulatively. That's a good word. Give you a bell for that. I had to look at that twice. Daryl, I have never shoveled and snowplowed so much in that period of time. Wow. That is saying something. So I'm going to assume that is a lot of snow. David, the bowler hat guy. Good evening, Barry. Hello, all. Hello, David. Glad you're here. Steve Reed. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. Supposed to get 4 to 8 inches of snow the next couple of days, and everyone needs to give thumbs up for Barry. Thank you, Steve. By all means, hit the thumbs up, like button. Let people know we're watching or we're doing this so they can check in. Roger, Hindsight 6-7, greetings from next door. Greetings, Raj. Glad you're back. Robert, the Infernal Craftsman, evening all. Look, he's got a new logo. He's got a new logo thingy on his thumbnail. Check that out. Winter is finally coming for its usual 2 days a year. Low of 12 for Tuesday and Thursday night, but we'll warm up into the 40s for the swap meet this weekend. Okay. Glad you're here, Robert. George Crackle. Hi, all. Hope everyone is staying warm. Feels like temperature of negative 9 here tonight. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want any of that. Daryl says Fahrenheit or Celsius for me, the Canadian. 6 degrees Fahrenheit here. 3 feet of snow outside. Ooh. Yeah, no. I don't want any of that. George, hi all. Hope everyone is staying warm. Oh, wait a minute. You just said that. That's 2 times. That's all right. Oh, tonight in Southeast Michigan. There we go. So he's in Southeast Michigan. Thank you, George. C&J Hoyt. Hello all. Picked up a new roof for the 66 yesterday. Cut the old one off. And the driver's side drip rail is a little sketchy. Do I panel weld that side or spot weld that side and use seam sealer like normal? I'm guessing. Okay, so the drip rail is a little sketchy. I know it's kind of hard to answer that question because so I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm assuming it's a coupe, but I don't know for sure. I did a video years ago on the 65 light blue Mustang where I had cut apart a Mustang just for the drip rail. Now, I could say this, on the 67, 8 cars, the drip rail is a different width on the fastbacks than it is on the coupes. So the actual flange is wider on the coupes, I think. And I think it's narrower on the fastbacks. I know that because I had to repair the drip rail on Jade, and I bought a fastback drip rail and tried to use it, cut out that piece, and it didn't work. It was too narrow. So I don't think there's a difference in the 65 and 6 cars as far as the drip rail width from the coupe to the fastback. Now, you say the drip rail is a little sketchy. Do I panel weld that side or spot weld that side and use seam sealer like normal? So I guess I'm a little confused by that because I know the drip rail itself has a flange that goes up under the roof. So if you've left that, I'm guessing you can't weld. You're saying you can't weld the roof to the drip rail? I guess that's my assumption there. I don't know. I don't have an easy answer for you because I can't, unless I'm seeing it, I really have a hard time giving you an answer. But I can tell you there are differences between the coupes and the fastbacks as far as the drip rail, at least on the 67 and 8 cars. So we'll try to get an answer for you on that, but I really need to see something to make it easier to understand it. Rusty's Restoration. Good evening, all. Barry from Southern Indiana. Everyone give a thumbs up for Barry. Yes. Thank you, Rusty. Dave Conville. Good evening, all. Evening, Dave. And his cats are watching, I'm sure. Terry Keithley, are planes able to land upside down? Actually, there were some planes built that could land upside down, but they were stunt planes. And I guess landing is relative. I mean, if you can land a plane upside down and walk away from it, it's still a landing, technically. But no, in general, planes are not supposed to do that. Black GTX, greetings from Minnesota. It's cold here too. It will be negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit tonight. You can keep it. I don't want it. Man, that's too cold. Daryl says, not the ones I flew. Yeah. Brandon Reisinger, good evening, all. Let's go. Yes, let's go, Brandon. Jerry is checking in. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, y'all. I hope all are well. Too cold here, but I'll live. Have some good car talk. Thank you, Jerry. Roger, I think. I saw a pit special with landing gear on the top and bottom once. It could land inverted, but most don't fare well. Yes, I agree. I've seen that same plane, at least one, built with landing gear on the top side, and they would do a touch and go type of thing to impress the crowds. Jerry's Garage, the Money Pit. Good evening to all from Middle Tennessee. Thumbs up. Thank you, Jerry. Hope all is going well with your project. Hugh Phillips. Hey, Barry, I'm back. LOL from Northwest Ohio. Welcome, Hugh. I'm glad you're back. Robert, I named my wallet Charity. It could use a donation. Yeah. Wade Chandler. Hey, Barry and all from North Georgia. Hey, Wade. And Wade, I've been meaning to ask you, did you have any luck putting your 70 Mustang up for sale? So Wade has a 70 Mach 1 that he's trying to sell. But I don't know if you had any luck with any interest show up, people will get interested or anything like that. It's not a complete car. It is a project. So if anybody's looking for a 70 Mach 1, I can hook you up with Wade and maybe make a sale and help him out. Sebastian De Silva. Hi, Barry and all. How are you? Hello, Sebastian. I'm great. Hope you are well. Daryl Horvath emailed you, Barry, the video of the evacuation. He emailed you the video of the evacuation of the CRJ today. Yes, I did notice that right before I went on the stream. I saw that that had shown up, and I didn't get a chance to look at it. So, I'll look at it later. Thank you, Daryl. Jerry's saying shh to Robert. And Robert, she doesn't like my sense of humor. My wife doesn't like my sense of humor either. Dwight Douglas, hello from cold Indiana. Welcome, Dwight. Yeah. I don't need any more of this cold weather. Let's see. Mercury Man Garage and Outdoors. Good evening, everyone. It's been an old-fashioned winter here in Michigan, trying to stay motivated to work on the cyclone. Okay. Well, welcome, Mercury Man. Yeah, it's tough to stay motivated when the temperatures are bad. It's difficult. Rick Gain, I definitely trust your judgment over his, but the guy from Pole Barn Garage often paints cars on YouTube in 30-degree weather. Well, you get what you pay for. Yeah. Yeah, that's... he can. You can. I won't. I can't say that it's going to be. It may look good. It may last. It may not. But any data sheet you find for any kind of quality paint will tell you that you need to have a certain temperature, and 30 degrees is not it. So I've never seen whoever that is, so I don't know. But good luck to him. I hope his paint jobs work and don't become a problem later. Don's Manufacturing, hello from Thawed PDX. Thank you, Don. Glad you're here. Dave Conville, all 8 cats watching intently. Yeah, that's great. Do I need to get like a little something to bounce around the screen so the cats kind of go after the TV? I don't have anything colorful and fuzzy for the cats to chase after. Michael Pagliarini, evening all, 6 inches of snow in the mid-teens in Rhode Island. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. The only time I want to go to Rhode Island is in the summer, maybe fall, and I want to go to the Nordic Lodge again. So if you can secure me tickets, a meal to Nordic Lodge, maybe I'll come up there and give you a visit. That was a fantastic place to visit. Hugh Phillips, my 67 is pretty much done, but I have a complete 67 parts car built in the same plant, and within 100 apart on a production line. I'm debating on taking the parts car apart and having all original parts if needed, or should I buy new parts as needed? That's a tough question. I guess to me it would depend on the condition of the second car. Whether it's salvageable or worth keeping it together, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, within 100 production numbers from each other. That's really cool, actually. But I would look at where you want to be with one or both cars. So is it more of a priority to have one completely original? And is taking parts from the second car Will that complete your first car to make it original, and then maybe take the second car and put it together with aftermarket parts? That's an option too. Uh, Sounds like you're going to be going one or the other, like maybe aftermarket on both to complete them if you wanted to. But that's a tough question to answer. I'm not really. I haven't been presented that kind of question before, so I don't have an easy answer for you. C&J, yes, on coupe, and there are some rust holes in it for sure. It will, if it will weld up or cut apart and just make a new one with the old outside piece. Yeah, I know that what I ended up doing with that 65 coupe, I wanted to remove that drip rail from the damaged car. I wanted them to remove the whole piece. The problem was you have to destroy the roof basically to get it off. And so I ended up cutting it. I cut off the drip rail and about 3/8 of an inch of flange, and I welded that thing back on to the other car and made it complete. So I know that some people have good luck at making that piece. I know we look at it as a very complex piece, but it's really not. It's just a few bends. And if you have some basic, I've even used angle iron to make shapes because I don't have a brake, so a small brake would work. But yeah, I don't have an easy answer for you. You have to look at it and see will it make sense to try to piece it in, and if it does, I'll probably do that. Okay, so we talked about with Hugh. Wade Chandler, not yet, still sitting there. Yeah. Jerry, I was in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, and it was -17, and I could lift the trailer off the ball. I'm assuming you're talking about it was so cold that the catch wasn't working. I'm guessing, because I'm assuming that's what you mean. But yeah, that's plenty cold. Travis says, where is the 70 Mustang located? And good evening, all. Evening, Travis, the #1 patron. Glad you're here. Dawn's Manufacturer says Barry needs a thumbs up. Yes, definitely. And okay, so Wade has pointed out that the 70 Fastback or Mach 1 is in Cumming, Georgia. And if you're interested, anybody's interested, let me know. I can hook you up with Wade, and we can figure some stuff out. Daryl, my 67 Fastback only has one torque box on the driver's side. Why didn't Ford go with the dual torque boxes like the 68 from the start? Was it an oversight? Okay, the 67, how do I put this? It was kind of a hybrid. So there are parts of 66 and parts of 68 in a sense. So 67 is kind of the oddball. There's things that they did from 66 into 67, and then they went, oh, that was a bad idea, and they fixed it all in 68. That's why I like the 68 so much, because it feels like they finally got everything lined up the way it was supposed to work and, make it functional. Now, as far as the torque box, I know that, the early cars, they only put them on one side for whatever reason. Nobody knows. At least I don't know. But yeah, I agree. They should have put the torque box on both sides. The nice part is you can still do it. I mean, they make them. So if you wanted to, you can put that in there. But I 100% agree with you. The way these cars are made, if you step back a little bit and you look at how they're actually just layers of sheet metal stacked up and spot welded together, there's nothing on the in your footwell from the floor support to the rocker panel. There's nothing there. It's just a place to put your feet, and that's fine, I guess. But it all feels like there should be something more structural there, which is why I can appreciate the torque boxes so much. But yeah, if you've already got a car that's completed, that's a bit more difficult to try to incorporate. But I agree, they should have done it. They should have done it. Terry Keithley, at 30 degrees weather, it's time for coffee and gobs. I agree. I agree. Dave Conwell, perhaps if you get a laser pointer for the cats, they'd all hit the like button. Perhaps. Jerry, we may get 4 inches of snow tonight. Yeah, I don't need any snow. You know, this what day was it? Saturday night? It had been Saturday night. We had tornado warnings here. We had high winds. A tree did snap off in the backyard, and at 4:45 this morning, it was, or that morning, which would be Sunday morning, I guess. It was scary. It sounded really, really bad, and I know there were tornado warnings going off around us. My wife says she heard a transformer pop, and I probably didn't hear it. I probably heard the tree crash right behind our house more than anything. And come to find out that at the end of our street, there's a tree, a big pine tree that had fallen over, landed on a power line, and it may have been what popped the transformer. So my neighbors, for at least a day, if not longer, because our street is divided, like part of it is one power company and part of it is another. They were without power. I don't know if they're still without power or not. I hope they got it restored. But we had a tremendous storm come through here, and it was violent. On the plus side of that, I did show you in the previous video that I had water leaking in from previous damage that I had when a tree had fallen on my garage. And I'd used some metal flashing. I flashed my neighbors. Somebody else's joke, not mine. I put flashing up under the shingles, and lo and behold, I have no water coming in the shop. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, the weather has just been ugly here over this past, since Saturday or Saturday, and it's not going to get better for probably at least a week. Robert, the tech sheet for the clear I have says 60 degrees minimum with fast reducer and hardener, but is not recommended. Yeah. I can't see getting anywhere close to 30 degrees. Mercury Man, I would never paint at 30 degrees, maybe 60, but that's even pushing it. Yeah, and the thing too, I don't even, I need it to be 70 to 75, and that's it, earlier in the morning. I don't want that temperature in the afternoon because I want to be able to spray, get it to cure out, and then if I have any issues, I can address it where I'm not staying up late into the night to try to fix things. So yeah, I wouldn't even come close to spraying it 60 degrees. C&J, I have a, I guess, donor that I could cut apart, but it's no guarantee if it's any better. Okay, talking about the coupe. Yeah, it's hit and miss on some of this stuff. You like that car that I bought just for the rain gutter. The rest of it was destroyed. It was just wrecked all over the place. That was the only straight piece on it, really. Hugh Phillips, my 67 was built on October 6th, 1966 parts. Has a lot of 66 parts. I was told it is considered a 67 and a half. I've never heard of that. Is there such a thing? I don't know if they technically had anything labeled as 67 and a half, but like I said, the 67, they did a lot of intermixing. In fact, the coupe that I had for this, the door hinges on one side are for a 68. The door hinges on the other side are a 67. And it's just what they did. It's like they were coming down the line and they thought, well, this is close enough. So they were using a different hinge in 67, and then 68 went to the better hinge, I guess. So you've got a mix of things out there for that 67 car. It's like they have a bunch of leftover parts. They said, well, we'll just use them up. So, but I've never heard of anybody labeling it as a 67.5. Michael, still trying to get aftermarket body panels to fit. How much of a gap should the fender to cowl and lower fender to rocker have? Yes, strip rails can be made. Was time consuming. Okay. Gap from fender to cowl. That's a good question. So, what year car? Because that'll help. Because some of them fit tighter than the others. And to me, the gap at the cowl, there's so many variables, because when you start looking at that and you look at the doors, so let's say you start at the back of the car, right? And you're putting the doors on, and you get the bottom of the door lined up with the rocker panel, and it comes up, and you're pretty happy with the alignment. Then you put the fender on, assuming that everything is lined up. If you have the fender lined up with the door, and the door lined up with the quarter, and the gaps are all good, then your interior gap from the cowl isn't going to matter. And I say that because if you push the fender in to compensate and close up the gap there, now you have to deal with the door, and if you push it in, you may be hitting things, or you may be having more problems. So that gap can be, I would say anywhere from 0 to 3/16 of an inch, to be honest. I wouldn't want it to be that far, but I could see it being that far. I can't remember specifically how the cars that I've done, what those gaps were. Now the other part you're talking about, lower fender to rocker. Again, that's kind of a challenge, because you can change that with the twist of the fender. So I've done videos on that too. If you take the front part of the fender and you rotate it, it'll change the length of the fender technically. Because when you rotate it up, it pulls the fender forward. When you rotate it down, it pushes the fender back. And it'll change that gap at the door and rocker panel. Now the rocker panel has a corner on it, and the door is supposed to line up on that corner. So where that crease is on the rocker panel, the front edge of the door is supposed to line up with that. Supposed to. So if you envision that, then the gap at the door and the gap at the rocker should be the same. And that would be, again, 3/16, somewhere in that range, maybe a quarter, depending on how good the panels are. So those are tough questions to answer, but that's kind of the way I look at it whenever I think about gaps. Jerry says, I'm interested. Okay, you're I guess interested in the 70 fast or Mach 1? I'm assuming. Roger, and I know you corrected that. You said my daughter-in-law's parents' house got hit by a tree in a storm Saturday night. Lots of structural damage. Yeah, that's scary. And I feel like I'm going to have to, I don't know about you, but I may have to address some of these pine trees, because they're big. These are huge pine trees. They're probably 80, 100 feet tall, and the pine beetles are killing them. So we're on a downward slide with these pine trees, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing you can stop. The pine beetles aren't going to stop. They're going to eat them all, or kill them all, and But I run the risk of, I've got a pine tree behind my shop that is probably, it may be close to 3 feet across. It is it is the biggest pine tree on my property, and it is right behind my shop, and I get nervous about seeing that thing all the time. Robert, I still need to get Jerry on the roof of the shop to fix the leak up there. Yeah, get her up there. Real nautical fishing. Hey Barry and all, what is your opinion on rocker repair with a hole on the inside and outside? Do you think it's easy enough to replace the whole thing, or just cut out the bad spots and fix them? Okay, well, welcome. Glad you're here. When you say a hole on the inside and outside, I guess I don't know exactly what you mean. So, I'm hole on the inside and the outside. So a hole on the outside of the rocker panel, typically you're going to find those towards the back. And I have no problem repairing something like that. I can make a piece, cut out the bad section, and weld it in the new and blend it right in. Now, on the inside, I'm not sure if you mean the inner rocker, as it's where the seat riser attaches, somewhere in that area. I've replaced pieces there too. I've cut out, while I was working on the floor, I have cut out sections of the inner rocker and replaced those. And before doing so, treated the inside of the outer rocker panel. As far as replacing the whole thing, a lot of people have problems with these rocker panels. The aftermarket ones, they tend to have a width issue. Something, if you buy them independent, there's something going on with them that people have to modify them. They have to cut them and narrow them up to make them fit where they're supposed to fit. So, as far as I know, I would rather patch up what's there. If the rest of it is in good shape, it's probably easier in the long run. So, good question. Daryl, when you put the roll bar on the Fangled 68, what is your plan with the inner panels to go around the pole? I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll have to burn that bridge when we get there, because we don't have any of the interior parts, none of that stuff yet, and I don't know that anybody makes pre-made panels that you can use, so we'll probably have to get some replacement panels and modify them to make them fit. I know on the Mustang Steer Shelby style roll bar that I got for the Cobra Jet, it actually came with plastic covers that were molded to the shape of the interior finish panel for the back. And basically you would have cut a hole in that panel to slide it around the roll bar, and then that sleeve would come down and interact with that trim piece. So that's all I can offer as far as that goes. But for the Fangled project, I just don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far. Good question though. Thank you, Daryl. Michael, it's $100 a person now at the Nordic Lodge. You don't want to see Tasca Ford. I guess that's a question. I don't know. I guess I didn't even know the Tasca Ford was there. How about that for an answer? You know what though? $100 a person, it's still worth it to go to the Nordic Lodge. I will say that. I will stand on those. $100 a person. I will still go to the Nordic Lodge given the chance. But I guess I didn't know Tasca Ford was there. So while I was there, that would be a great thing to see. I was there in 2013. And the only reason I went up there was to go to the to that restaurant. That's the only reason I went up there. We spent the weekend, my wife and I, and that was the whole reason we went up there, was just to go to that restaurant. Thank you, Michael. Denny Alvey, late to the party. Hello, gang. Hey, Barry. Hey, Denny. Glad you're here. I know I've gotten a couple of pictures that have been sent to me. So I'm going to see if I can at least get one of these. And this was sent by Mark, which I believe is the black GTX. So let's look at what his picture is. Let me pull down. Where'd it go? Put on Denny's comment. So, ooh, I like that. I like that. Uh, um, he says, during my truck build, I built an A-frame rack for bulk body parts. It takes up less room and keeps parts from being damaged. Not the best picture, but you can see it against the wall. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that truck. I built one of those. I built a 55 for a guy, and I converted it to a wraparound rear window. I like the big back glass in those trucks, but that's a sharp looking ride right there. Thank you for that. Let me get back up here. All right, Hugh. I was always told by the older generations that you can use a paint stir stick to gap body panels. I've tried it and it seems to work pretty well. Yes, I have done that quite a bit. And it depends on the paint stick too. Those are not a standard size. They make them in different thicknesses, um, but usually the thicker paint stick is what I go with, and it works fine. Terry Keithley says the 70 and a half Falcon was labeled. So I guess labeled as a 70 and a half. I have not heard that, but thank you, Terry. Robert, on the 65.6, trying to make the fender decal super tight will cause door alignment issues, and the door may not go in far enough to match, but they were loose with gaps back then. Yes. Yeah, they were not tight tolerances by any means. The Dutchman's Woodchuck says, hi, hi. Glad you're here. Mercury Man, Hugh Phillips, yes, paint stick is a good method. I agree. He also says pine trees are shallow rooted anyway, so they uproot easily in a windstorm. I will say the trees that we have been holding up pretty darn well for as big as they are. I mean, there are some huge trees in the backyard, but yeah, they need to. I'm gonna have to do something with them. Wade Chandler, I cut down all the trees that could reach my house if they fell. There was someone in the ATL in this last storm killed in their house, and a tree fell on them. Oh, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Jerry says the only problem with me fixing the leak in the roof of the shop is he just wants me to plug it with my finger and stay up there. And also the shop could use a weather vane on the roof. Yeah, there you go. Michael, it's a 65 and I've had to slice and dice in the fender to fit. Same with the doors, but I have less than an eighth inch as of now. Door gap I'll have to cut to fit. Haven't started on the quarter panels. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, let me just give you my advice or opinion on that, and start at the back. Start at the back of the car. You got to get the quarters on, get all that stuff squared away, and then work your way forward with the doors, and then the fenders and the cowl and all that. All those pieces. But an eighth of an inch, yeah, that's fantastic. There's no complaints about that. I'd be happy to have an eighth of an inch on a 65 for sure. David, that's a cool looking truck. I agree with that. It is a very cool looking truck. I like the white walls. Yeah, yeah, I like that truck. Always did have an affection for that body on the design. Robertson, I picked up the cowl gap in the 65 at NPD, the original ones with 1,000 miles on it. Okay, so yeah. So I'll pull that up so you can see um, what we're talking about. Let me get that pulled. So here, this is a picture of the cowl on display, or a car on display at NPD that only has like 1,000 miles on it. And so that gap, you can see it's tight at the windshield, and then gets wider as it comes out, and it's not even 100% square. I mean, you can see it's got almost a wave to it. And then how big the fender gap is, or the cowl to hood gap is, and then the hood to fender gap gets wide too. So, and while we're here, I'm going to show you this, just so I'm going to pop this up. I showed some of these pictures on my Facebook page. I play around with the Meta AI and try to get it to create things. And so one of those things was what may become a new sort of logo um, for some of the stuff that I'm doing. But I want to show you this. Just give me your opinion, what you think of this. Oh, wait a minute. How about? Okay. I had to pull myself off the screen to make that happen. I don't know if it kills the mic when I do that or not. But that's one of the things I was playing with for the trying to get a logo design created. I did put some more stuff up on Teespring, Spring as it's called now. Trying to make some different T-shirts and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll work or not. Yeah, and Robert says 1/8 of an inch is really tight. Yeah, it is. Daryl says, after the 68, what's next on your agenda? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Now, tentatively, how about that? There's a guy that's been after me for a while with a 65 fastback that he wants me to redo for him. So that's somewhere on the list of potential projects after the 68. Then there's another guy that wants me to do the sheet metal work on an original 69 Shelby GT350. Yeah, an original car. And I don't know yet if that's going to become something I do or not. I don't know. But those are the two that they're kind of on the horizon sort of thing. And that could change. I mean, I've had people ask me to build more bodies like this. That could happen. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it depends how things go moving forward. Okay, now I'm gonna pop this back up here just to show you. Now I think I can do it without me talking over it. See, it comes up small on this one. So whenever you do something like this, it comes up. AI cannot reproduce the exact same car. Like, it cannot replicate an original car exactly. So when I prompted it, I asked it to make a classic Mustang with the Joe Daddy's logo. Now I know I saw there's like Richard says he likes the logo with Jade better. Yeah. The problem is I can't get the AI, even though I've sent pictures of it to the into the program. I've sent pictures of Jade. It cannot or will not create Jade in this sense. And I tried so many different things. And it's a free service. It's not like I'm paying for anything. I know Travis says he doesn't like the car, and I get it. I get it. I think it kind of, it's in a way I like it because it's not exact. It's not representing one particular type of car. But I've had a few variations of these created, and I kind of like this one. I do see that Daryl says that would be nice in a neon sign. Yeah, I agree. And also Hugh says he votes for the Jade logo. Or vote Jade for the logo. Yeah, if I could figure out a way to make it accept, because I could tell you this. I have tried, let me pull this back down. I have tried using Jade, prompting it and say, here's the car I want you to use. And I want you to put Joe Daddy's Garage below it, make it a sign, whatever, like that. And it cannot understand it. And I get it, it's just a dumb system, I guess. It'll put Joe Daddy's Garage on the car. I'm like, no, I want it below the car. and then it'll repeat that, and it'll do the same thing, and it'll just keeps using the image on the car itself. So unless I figure out a way to get around how the AI thinks, I don't know what else to do with it. But right now I've got a few different ones that I have. Let me see if I can. I did a couple of different ones just to see what they would do. Like here, this is another representation. So the car, I think the car looks pretty cool. But again, it's how AI interprets what you're trying to tell it. And where's the other one? Let me see if I can delete. And even though it's almost like you're trying to talk to the machine, it doesn't quite get what you're saying. Here's another variation where it was like making a car and then just random logo up above it. So it's interesting what it comes up with, and you just can't make it like fully accept what you're trying to get it to understand. There's one more on here that I thought wasn't too bad, and nope, that's the other one. So, just a couple different experiments. I like my old logo that I have, but I think having a car on it makes more sense, and so I may have to. I may adjust my logo. Like this doesn't really tell you much. It just says Joe Daddy's Garage, and I think if I had a car incorporated into it, it's going to make a difference. But we'll see. I have other ones where I made them with like a Bronco and things like that. So Richard Vo says he likes it a lot. Dave Tyson likes it. I know Travis says he doesn't like the car, and I get that. David, the Bowler Hat guy, I like the logo. Yep. Put Jade on top of it. I've tried, but it doesn't seem to. It just doesn't work. Mark, nice logo. Thank you. Hey, Matco Man. Hello, everybody. Hello, sir. Glad you're here. Richard, I still like the logo with Jade better. Yeah, I tried. I posted them on Facebook, and it was like it doesn't want to do what I tell it to. Dusty Country Garage. Hi from Arizona. Hello, Dusty. Hugh Phillips, I vote for the Jade logo. Okay. Hugh Phillips, I sent you an email on my 6.7 parts car, not worth saving, but still a lot of usable original parts worth keeping. Yeah, that's the challenge. Oh, see if it'll let me open that. Yeah, I'll probably just do one download of that so we can see it. But yeah, that would probably be best as a parts car, like you're saying. Whoops, hold on. Again, I run into the problem of having too many files in my overlays. So if this will pop up. So there he's talking about a 67 parts car. Yeah, that's definitely a parts car, in my opinion. I wouldn't have any problem taking that apart and using the good parts on the other car. That would need a ton to get it back up and running. So I agree. Use the parts off of it. Good call. Dwight, it looks like the top is chopped. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. You're talking about on this one? Yeah, and that's fine. It doesn't need to be exact. I think we can all look at that and go, that's a Mustang. Or even in passing glance, you'll say that's a Mustang. Even with that one, you'll still recognize it overall as a Mustang. And that's how I view it. I don't need it to be the exact one. It gives it some interesting perspectives. Wade Chan, at least you wouldn't have the 60 in gone in 60 seconds lady coming after you if the car is a mashup. Yeah, that's true. Randall Rains logo looks awesome, Barry. Thank you, Randall. Appreciate that. Wade, at least. Oh yeah, we said that. Sorry, got that up twice. Richard, that looks better. So you're talking about the second one. I'm assuming that one. And I do like that one. What I don't like about that one is, I don't know, the hood scoop's not right. But again, it's just a representation. I kind of like the way this one feels with the colors and everything like that. It gives it an eye catch. Either one of those is good though, in my opinion. Scott Hebert, hi all from, I guess, Massachusetts. I guess, I don't know, Maryland. I don't know what the abbreviations are. 20 degrees with 45 mile per hour wind. Gust makes wind chill 1 degree. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not fun. Glad you're here, Scott. Daryl, like that one way better. Lock it in. So you're talking about the second one. Looks good for the new logo. Okay, thank you that. Scott, good day for welding in seat pan. I hate grinding. This may sound odd. I don't mind grinding. I know it's wrong. It's a sickness. It's just a sickness. I don't mind the grinding because I know when I'm grinding that I'm finishing. I'm getting on the downside of that part of the project. So Daryl says, how about an old gas station with a Joe Daddy sign and a 67 to 69? That would be fantastic. I don't know how to make that happen though. Because whenever I punch it into AI, I tell it what I want. Like create a Mustang with Joe Daddy's Garage, create a logo. Now I could probably put in, because I actually asked it to do a 69, and it would not create a 69. And then I prompted it to use Jade as a feature. It wouldn't do that. So it gets complicated whenever you try to, I think, like a computer, I guess. I don't know. It's been a challenge. Steve Reed says, I like it. Okay. Robert says, Gemini won't manipulate an existing picture of a car either. Yeah. And see, that's where I still like the, even though I like the original car idea, I like that it's not an exact representation. Because it gives you, with a logo, I think you run into a risk. Like Joe Daddy's Garage on the grill, that's a radiator, right? And it's an animation type of thing. I think if you push the boundaries too far and you become locked in to an exact car, then it limits the visual appeal. Like maybe somebody doesn't like this shade of blue, or they don't like this shade of green, or maybe they like the 65 but they don't like the 68, or different things like that. So by making it kind of in between all of that, you still get the idea, hey, that's a Mustang, and it's not a 429 or 428 Cobra Jet, or it's not a 302 Boss. It's not an actual correct depiction. So, there's different ways to look at it, and I'm okay with what those two have created so far. I may play with them some more, but it's kind of interesting what it has come up with. Rusty says, still a cool logo. Thank you, Rusty. Travis says, send me both the AI generated one and an original pic of Jade. I'll make it for you. Oh, okay. Well, I'll try to send them and see what we can come up with. That would be fantastic. See at least what variations we can come up with. Thank you, Travis. Hugh says there are Photoshop apps you can download and make whatever you want, even with your exact car. My kids do it all the time for me. I don't know how to do it, but the younger generation are experts. Yeah, yeah. And here I am like, I want you to do this. It doesn't listen. Okay, we're going to move on from that just a little bit. I want to show you a new tool. So I went to Harbor Freight a few weeks ago, and always looking, like, what do you have? Is there something new? Is there something different? Is there something I don't have just yet? And I came across a tool for sale. It was on discount. Well, on sale, right? And it was this. This is an air-powered scraper. And so normal price is $30, and they had it on sale for $19.95 or whatever. But when I went in, they didn't have any of these. So they gave me a rain check. Now, I wasn't expecting much because I don't know what, I've never used one of these. I've seen the needlers, where they have the little rod sticking out and it kicks around, knocks stuff loose like rust. But I've never had a scraper. So I got this thing, and I tried it out just before we started tonight. I went underneath my Mach 1 where there's undercoating and just hit it with this. And it comes with four or five different blades. And it's fairly thick. This is like a good 1/8 inch thick steel. And so it's not overly aggressive. Like, it's not like an air hammer where it's pounding at it. It's just like almost like a multi-tool where it's not cutting. It's not vibrating like the multi-tool does, It's just going back and forth, but it's at a very small motion. So I just pushed on that undercoating, and it came off pretty well. Now, will it work on everything? I don't know. I know that it worked for what I wanted it to do on my Mach 1. So that's what it's made to do, though, is just like knock loose undercoating. Okay, so Travis says he knows Photoshop pretty well. Okay. Dancing Alone with Rentals. That is a very unique name. Hello, all. I'm here to hit the like button, then kick back and listen. Okay. That sounds good to me. Travis, I like the scrapers for the old undercoating. It takes it off pretty well. Yeah, that's what because some of that stuff, you could take a putty knife and plow into it and knock on it with a hammer, but I just wanted to see what it would do. And this is not overly aggressive by any means. Daryl says, could you use it to separate panels, or is it too aggressive? No, I would not even use it to separate panels. It's amazingly, for lack of a better term, gentle. Like, the motion on this is so short, it's almost like a vibration feel to it. I don't know if I could hook up, probably couldn't, I could hook up a hose, but it may not make a difference. Let me just grab the air hose real quick, just to see if it'll show what I'm talking about. Talk amongst yourselves. So it does have a regulator type of the deal here on the back, but this thing is like you probably can't even see it moving. So it's not doing a lot. It's just doing just enough to where you can, I don't think somebody said I'd be worried about gouging metal. I don't think you can gouge metal with this. This thing is, I'm putting my hand on it. It's not, it doesn't even, it doesn't feel like it's doing much. Like, here's a pen. It's just enough that creates like a vibration more than anything. It's not a heavy impact type of thing. So just something I'm going to try. And then the other thing, the other thing that was on sale, and I'm going to show you this. I think it's funny, but it's probably going to work. Now, whenever I go to put like glass in a car or something, usually it's just Roger. I get Roger to come help me, and we're handling it and getting it into position. And I've always wanted a set of those suction cup deals. You know, they sell those suction cups, and I only bought this on a whim, right? Because this is a suction cup thing for like a bathroom, like in a shower. It's meant to help you get in and out of a shower or situation, whatever. And so it's got these little indicators on it that when you put this on a piece, already did this. I put this on a piece of glass, and you snap it down, pushes down, and it draws down on the suction cup. And when it has suction, this changes to green. Okay, it'll show that it just pushes. There's a little pin here that goes in, and it shows it as green, meaning it's compressed and it's hanging on. So I went out to the RV and I put this on the side glass, locked it in, and I mean I was tugging on this thing, and it was holding on pretty well. Now these are on sale right now at Harbor Freight for like $5. And this one was a return, so I got it for, I think, $2. But I wanted to see what it would do. And I'm like, this might actually work. Take these and put them on a windshield. You know, keep a hand on it, obviously, but it might give you enough angle that you're not trying to stretch yourself sideways. So I might have to go back and get another one of these. But I just thought I'd share that with you. I thought it was kind of interesting. Yeah, we talked to Hugh. It won't gouge. You'd have a hard time gouging the metal with that air tool. Robert, it's almost like a body saw in its amount of power. Yeah, and maybe even less than that. Because I have one of those little air saws, and I think it's more aggressive than this thing. This thing is so kind of subtle in a way. Hugh, why do I feel like I'm back at school and the teacher just left the room? Rick says, where on the list is your Mach 1? You have a lot of things lined up. What about basket case? You know, that's a good question. What I plan to do is once I get the Crunchy Cobra painted and sanded and buffed and whatever, and I'm going to do some of the trim work. I want to get the door handles on, door latches and that sort of thing. And once that car is completely done with what I'm doing and out of here, of course I'll be focused on this. But there will be opportunity for me to do some of the work on my Mach 1. Like, I've got to do the sheet metal work and get the quarters on. That's going to be the first thing I need to get done. And honestly, once I get the quarters on, there's not a whole lot else to do from a structural standpoint. Like, the car is there. It just needs, sanded down, a fresh primer, and a little body filler here and there. I've got those two great fenders that I bought that came on the 70. So I think it's going to come along pretty nicely once I get to that point. Now, it's going to be kind of hit and miss. Like, I might do something. I might work on it one day a week while I'm doing other things. I don't know yet. I just haven't. I haven't drawn a line in the sand on that car yet. I still have. I put Jade for sale, and nobody's. Obviously nobody's bought it yet, and that comes into play as well towards how finances are going to push on my Mach 1 as well. Got to keep that in mind. So, got to budget things and make things work for everybody. So, and as far as the basket case, I don't know. I wish I could have gotten those parts and put it together, but being that it's my car, again, it's not a priority. It's just not that big a deal. I'd like to get it together, but this right now is more important to me than the other stuff that is going on. But thank you, Rick. That's a good question. Mark, I wish I had that tool when I scraped the uncoating off the 69. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it works. It's not hyper aggressive for sure. Michael, why do you suggest putting the quarter panels on first? How would you know where they would sit in space? Okay, I'm going to ask you to go look at the Brooklyn Pony videos. Okay? So when I built that car, I had to start from the back because there was no other reference. Now, the floor pan was complete, but I did not have a location for the firewall. I did not have, any of that stuff in place. So the thing is with the quarter panels, if you start in the back, that's a thing that doesn't move. Okay, the doors are bolted on, the fenders are bolted on. You can change those with just minor adjustments. You can loosen a bolt and turn it and twist it, whatever. You can't do that with quarter panels. So you start with the back of the car, get all that squared up and exactly where it's supposed to be. Now, when you say where they would sit in space, I don't know what exactly you mean by that, because you've got the B pillar, which is your limiting factor, let's say fore and aft, right? You also have the wheelhouse, which interlocks with the rocker panel, which creates the width in effect. Like, you're not going to change, you could, but you're not really going to change the width of the wheelhouse. So when it interacts with the quarter panel lip, that is where it is. So there is no in space per se. The wheelhouse, just like I did on this, when I set the wheelhouse in the pocket for where the pocket is on the rocker panel, that indexes the wheelhouse and sets that space to where the quarter can only fit basically in one spot. But once those pieces are there and they're welded on, there is no in space. So if you start with the doors or start at the front of the car and you work your way back, you're going to end up backtracking, because once you start messing with the doors, you're like, okay, I got the door where I want it. Now, I will say this: put the doors on if you can and test fit. Check your alignment. Get the doors and the to line up with the rocker panel. Get the quarter panel line up with the door and the rocker panel and the wheelhouse and the tail panel. All those things. But you got to start with the back of the car, because those are the variables that you can't really change. Once you have that established, that's where they're at. You don't want to have to undo that stuff. So start at the back of the car, work your way forward. That's how I do it. I think that's the best approach. The good question, though. Daryl, that suction device looks like my phone from 1968. What? You said what? Oh, I see. Yeah. Come on over for dinner. Yeah, it does look like that. It looks like a giant phone. Anyway. So I hope that answers some questions as far as how I approach the body and how we make. Just, like I've said it before, I don't weld any of this until I know everything back there lines up and fits. So, and while we're at it, I don't know if anybody noticed this. I got to show you this. Now, this arrived the other day. And it's a 64 Chevelle that was a Dale Earnhardt car, right? Apparently, he got his first win in 1975, first asphalt win in this car, in a 64 Chevelle. What's interesting is the dirt track car that I had, that I raced, and Roger and I raced together, was a 65 Chevelle, which is basically the same car. So what I did, or I'm going to do, is I ordered one of these off of eBay, and I'm going to turn this into a replica of my stock car. Um, I'm going to blast this thing down and paint it black and put my design on it. Um, and if you, I don't know if I know I have that. I had a guy make me a car years ago. So this is a Hot Wheels version of my Chevelle stock car. And you can see it had red kind of streaks on it, had red wheels, and 67, of course, on the side of it. So I'm going to replicate that using this. Now, the bad part is I ordered this off of eBay, and the guy packaged it up, sent it to me, and I was like, yes, because this is heavy. I mean, this is metal. This isn't a plastic. He sends it to me, and I open it up, and when I do, the rear end is busted out of it. So apparently, when it was shipped, this thing was it was strapped down to the little plate that it comes on, but it was enough that it got jostled around that the cover for it was busted, and the suspension's busted out of it. So maybe this will become the wrecked version of my stock car. But I need to blast this thing down, take out the windshield, take out the back glass. There's a mirror inside here that runs across the windshield. Got to cut that out. It does have the right window net, which I'm happy about that. And I'm going to try to replicate as close as I can the dirt track car that I had years ago. So and what I ended up doing, though, I ordered another one because the guy that sent me this, I sent him pictures of it all busted, and lo and behold, he refunded the amount. He said, I'm going to go after USPS, who is the ones that busted it. So, yeah, I'm going to play around with this and turn it into my own version of my dirt track car. And then what I need is to make a trailer, and then have Roger with his arms stuck underneath the tire, underneath the fender. Because there was a time where I got into a pretty good crash with my car at the track, and basically I had a concussion. I didn't know it. I had a concussion, and the steering broke on my car, and we were trying to load it on the trailer, and so Roger was manipulating the wheels while I was in the car, and I couldn't see him, and I was trying to get him to turn the wheels or whatever to get me lined up on the trailer, and his arm went up underneath the fender. And when he screamed, that's when I stopped. I said, there's something wrong. I should not hear screaming. So I had to back up, let him get his arm out. Thankfully, it didn't kill him. And then we got it back on the trailer. But yeah, that was a rough night. That was a rough night because I definitely had a concussion. In fact, I'm probably lucky that I didn't break my neck. Honestly, I'm probably lucky I didn't break my neck. To give you a quick rundown of what happened, me and another guy, I think he was driving some sort of Oldsmobile Buick. And with these cars, some of those guys had their fenders like cut off, the tires stuck out past the fenders. Mine were pretty much under. I mean, there was probably some width there that was close to sticking out. But anyway, we were coming off of turn 2, coming out of turn 2. And I ended up, my car caught the back tire of his. And so it kind of pulled me up on top of his car. And when it did, we ended up both going sideways. Now, we're driving these cars. These are cars like, 3,000 pounds or whatever. We ended up both going sideways. Now, the track had the Jersey barriers all the way around the infield. But there was an opening on the backstretch. And that opening was just for the cars to come in and out. And so we together got sideways. We went through that opening, both of us like tied up against each other, went through that opening, His car hit the Jersey barrier right here, right on the A pillar. Boom. At that point, we were both out of control. We had no issue. We were just along for the ride. And at that time, of course, we didn't have any real safety devices. We had a 5-point harness. I had a foam pad that I put underneath my helmet and try to keep my head from getting knocked off. So when we hit that wall, we were probably doing, I'm guessing, 45 miles an hour, which is not super fast, but we came to an immediate stop. There was no compression. There was not like a modern car where it collapses on impact. These are race cars. They're built to be tough. And so we hit that, and all I remember is my head going sideways. And in reality, I probably could have broken my neck at that point. I think that the pad probably helped me, but it was enough of a jar or a jolt that it bounced my brain around in my head. I know that for a fact because I was kind of delirious for a little while after that. So, yeah. And then we tried to load the car. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So that's one of the few race car stories that I can share. And I know Roger remembers it because he was the one trapped underneath the car. And he points out, yes, tried to eat me alive. Yeah. Robert says Dale was a lot shorter than I realized. I have no idea how tall Dale Earnhardt was. No idea. I figured he was probably 5'10" or so. I don't know. Richard Vogel says good times. Yeah. Yeah, we had a few good times in the stock car race. Had some close calls. But it was fun. I miss doing that sort of thing. I know that I probably haven't been back to a racetrack, a dirt track, since the mid-'90s. And I don't want to because I know I would want to go back to racing. So that's part of the reason I've never really gone back to watching races. Oh, I get it, Robert. No, if he fit in that car, yeah, it was a tiny little guy. I get it. Daryl says, silly question. How did you bake your shop, Joe Daddy's? I'm guessing, how did you name or make? Oh, okay. Well, let me back up on that and explain how the YouTube, in fact, my YouTube channel is 16 years old. 16 years old. So let me start off by saying how the channel got started. Back in 2005, 6, 7, me and a partner had a body shop. And we were doing collision work and some restoration work. Now, we had done restoration work prior to owning the shop, but we started to do collision work as a partnership. And so we were trying to get people to bring us projects. And I thought, well, YouTube was just coming around, at least from what I understood. And what I was trying to do, in fact, if you go back and look at some of my earlier videos, you may hear me reference Midway Collision. So the shop was called Midway Collision, and I was trying to make videos so that people could see them and go, I want them working on my car. Because the idea was we could do restoration work. I would document it. People would see the work and go, oh, look, my car's being worked on. I know what's happening to it, and that sort of thing. Basically, the business failed, and it came undone 2013, I think it was. I think it was 2013. So I was able to change. It was my channel. It wasn't owned by the business. It wasn't in the partnership. So it was my channel. And I decided, well, I'm going to make it. In fact, I started to make it Midway Restoration at one point. A long, complicated story on that side of things. And then once the partnership failed, I was like, well, you know what? I'm not advertising this anymore. I'm going to make it my own thing. So I was trying to come up with an idea. And the thing is, I've mentioned this in my intro video that our daughter, my wife and I have 2 boys and a girl, and our daughter's name is shortened up. It's Joe. So J-O. And the idea was, well, I'm her dad. So I'm Joe's daddy, right? Joe's daddy garage kind of became Joe Daddy's garage. It also kind of goes with a kind of a southern expression where you would say, is that yo daddy's garage? So there was, you could actually hear people say that. Is that your daddy's house type of thing? So I used the variation of the yo and the Joe together to make it Joe Daddy's garage. That's the answer. Good question, though. I have considered at some point changing it, but I don't know what I would change it to. I know in some instances it doesn't make any sense to anybody, and that's fine. I know it has a nice roll to it. It rolls off the tongue nice. But again, I don't know if people really get it. Like, if I had something that was relatable directly to Mustangs, because I didn't start off doing Mustangs, I started off doing everything. It didn't matter what it was, Camaros, Chevelles, Pontiacs, but I become more known for the Mustangs, and that's why I'm kind of okay with something like that representing what I'm doing. So that's kind of where my mind has gone at this point. Anyway, that's the answer. Michael Pagliarini, okay, I had to reverse build my car. The back of the car was cut off behind the trunk filler panel when I got it. I don't know for sure the wheelhouses or tail pan is the correct location. Okay. Yeah, that's the hard part of doing that. So I've reverse built cars too, but you have to establish if you have the B pillars. As long as you have those, you can basically index where everything else goes. Now, I would still use the doors as a reference to get the eyeball line, looking down the body lines, so you know where you're at. But you get the quarters in place, because if you don't get those in the right spot, you're going to be fighting it later on. So, yeah, like Robert says, everything is based off the B pillar. Exactly. So get all that established behind the door, and then work your way forward. And Daryl saying awesome on the name. Yep. Travis says don't change it. Yeah, I don't think I will at this point. I have considered it, like Barry's Garage or Barry's Mustangs or something along those lines. But it is what it is at this point, and it might not help me to change it either. Richard, I love the behind the scenes stories at Joe Daddy's Garage. Thank you, Richard. Betty said, do not change your name. Okay. I'll leave it alone. Michael says, I do have one side tech screwed together just as a pre-fit. The outer wheelhouse doesn't really fit. Okay. What brand have you used is probably another question. And also, if you haven't already look at the videos on the Mystique Mustang, on some of the wheelhouse issues I had there, because they do have wheelhouse issues. And of course, the Brooklyn Pony, kind of look at those to get some more information. Daryl, I like the logo, but maybe not in block letters. Use the format on your hat. Yeah, I guess I could. I don't know. I mean, I could probably just play with a few different things and see what sticks. Richard, leave it. We love it. Okay. Robert, as he points out, everything is based off the B pillar. Yeah. Terry Keithley or Betty will sick the cats on me. Okay. Robert says, leave the name as is. It's like listening to music. The words of a song are often misinterpreted, but it's the overall melody that matters. That's a good point. Thank you for that. Okay. we've been at this an hour and a half. My voice is starting to go, and so I'm going to call it a night. Again, I will not be here next Monday. I'll be doing that charity event, and so I'm committed to that, and I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm glad you all were here. Okay, so Michael says the B pillar is intact and dynacorn. Okay, well, check out the other cars that I did: the '65 Mystique and the Brooklyn Pony for sure. But yeah, I'm experimenting a little bit with the logo stuff, which is not a big deal. But I'm glad everybody was here, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. And I will be working on the next video on the Fangled Fastback, and hopefully we can get some more done on it very soon. But that'll be it for tonight. So until next time, 2 weeks, take care of yourselves. See ya.